The Secret of the Salt Warehouse. Elena stood in the heart of České Budějovice, looking at a magnificent stone building. It had high, pointed roofs and tiny windows that looked like eyes. She had heard that this place, called Solnice, was now a famous restaurant, but it held a long history within its thick walls. As she pushed open the heavy wooden door, the warm scent of roasted meat and fresh bread greeted her. A man with a kind smile and a crisp apron walked toward her. "Welcome to Solnice," he said. "I am Carol, and I will be your host today. You are just in time for lunch." Elena looked around at the amazing architecture. Carol noticed her wonder. "Did you know?" he asked, leaning in. "Hundreds of years ago, no one ate here. This entire building was a giant warehouse. It was built to store salt, which was as valuable as gold in those days." Elena ran her hand over the rough stone of the wall. She looked up and saw massive wooden beams crossing the ceiling like the ribs of a giant ship. The ambience was cozy and mysterious, with soft lights glowing against the dark wood. It was hard to believe this was once just a storage room. Carel led Elena to a beautifully set table. "The service here is very important to us," he explained. He moved with grace, checking that the cutlery was perfectly straight and the napkins were folded neatly. "We want every guest to feel like royalty in our historic home." Before Elena sat down, she spotted something shiny in the corner. Huge copper tanks gleamed under the lights. "We brew our own beer right here," Carol said proudly. "The water comes from deep wells, and we use the finest hops to create a refreshing taste that you can only find at Solnice." Carol handed Elena a menu filled with traditional Czech dishes. "For your dining experience today, I recommend the slow-roasted duck," he suggested. "It is our specialty. It pairs perfectly with our lager." Elena smiled, feeling her hunger grow as she read the delicious descriptions. A few minutes later, Carel returned. In his hand, he carried a tall glass of beer with a thick, creamy head of foam. He placed it carefully on a coaster. "A fresh pour for you," he said. The bubbles danced in the golden liquid, catching the light from the window. The food arrived, and it was a masterpiece. Elena took her first bite of the tender meat and followed it with a sip of the cold, crisp beer. The flavors were rich and satisfying. She felt the history of the salt warehouse all around her, turned into a place of joy and comfort. When it was time to leave, Elena thanked Carel for the wonderful afternoon. "The salt is gone," she said with a laugh, "but the experience is just as valuable." Carel bowed slightly. "Please come back soon," he said. "Solnice always has a seat for a friend."